This week I heard a fascinating story that started about 40 years ago, continued about 15 years ago, and we found out this weekend that it has still been continuing and continues until this day. The story was told over Rebbe Shmulu, one of the elder shluchim from London, England, and it goes like this. He had an event where he was going to be speaking in Houston, Texas about 15 years ago, and to prepare for his talk, he printed out a story that he saw about some story with the Rebbe that took place with a shliach in Houston, Texas. Printed it out, didn't see the details, and he as well. Every day he reads 3 pages from the Rebbe's letters. There's like 25, 30 volumes, and he reads a few pages every day. So he made the copies of the pages where he's holding to have some reading material for the flight from London to Houston. So the story he read on the plane goes something like this. In the 70s, there was a frum yid that had to go through some medical procedures, and Houston is known for its famous hospitals. And he went there, and it's not even today. It's not so easy to come about kosher food in Houston, Texas, but you can imagine in the 70s it was all that more difficult. So the shliach in Texas, Rabbi Lazaroff, was very helpful in providing this yid with the kosher food that he needed. So he was there for quite a long period of time, and he was obviously very appreciative. When he got home, I'm not sure where he lived, but he had a son-in-law that lived in New York in Borough Park. And he asked his son-in-law if he can go to 770 to go to the Rebbe and to thank him for having shluchim in such distant places, and that he's very appreciative for everything that this shliach has done for him. So this is already in the 70s, and obviously it's not so easy to just walk in and talk to the Rebbe. So this fellow came to 770, and that's basically what they told him, that if you want to set up a meeting with the Rebbe, you have to book it 12 months in advance, but you can write a letter and the Rebbe will read it. So that's what he did. He wrote a letter and thanking the Rebbe that his father-in-law wanted to be makar tov for everything that the Rebbe's shliach did for him. Now, word got back to his father-in-law that he didn't actually talk to the Rebbe in person. He just sent a letter, and his father-in-law at the time, was still not well, and when he wrote his will, he put in his will that he wants his son-in-law to actually book an appointment to talk with the Rebbe and to thank him personally, not just through a letter. And that's what he did. He booked the appointment, and in the meantime, I believe the father-in-law passed away, and he had his appointment with the Rebbe, and the Rebbe commented to him that I didn't respond to your letter because I knew you were gonna come back in person, and I knew you were gonna come back in person. And then they went on to a different topic, and the Rebbe started talking about the son-in-law, and the Rebbe mentioned that the wearing tzitzis, according to Kabbalah, is connected to the heart because there's 32 strings. 32 is the numerical value, the gematria of Lev. And the Rebbe mentioned in passing that he thinks it would be a good idea to wear tzitzis even by night, as is the custom by many that are mahader and mitzvahs, to wear tzitzis even by night, even though, strictly speaking, there's no obligation, but it's a good thing. So the Rebbe didn't tell him to do it, but he implied that that it would be a good idea. Now, he didn't take the Rebbe's advice, and a few months later, he was on a business trip in Buenos Aires, and he lost himself, and he had a heart attack in the middle of the day. He woke up 3 days later, and his wife came in from New York, and they were in a hospital over there. And the first thing he told his wife when he woke up from his heart attack, whether he was in a coma or whatever it was, he said, "Please get me a pair of tzitzis, and I want to make sure that I wear tzitzis by night as well." And his wife said, "What's this with the tzitzis?" And he said that he told her that Lubavitch Rebbe told me that wearing tzitzis is good for my heart, and so the wife got all upset. Why didn't you listen? And so on and so forth. But anyway, he wore the tzitzis, and he got better. So that was the story that Rabbi Shmuley was reading on the airplane. Now, when he finished reading the story, he then started reading the letters that Rebbe that he printed out from where he was holding, and he happened to, everything's bashka pratis, the letter that he happened to be up to, the Rebbe suggested to someone to wear tzitzis by night, which is, if you read through the Rebbe's letters, it does come up maybe, every couple hundred pages, but it's not like checking your tefillin and mezuzah is one of the common eitzes that the Rebbe suggests, so it's definitely out of the ordinary. So when Rabbi Lou came to Houston, Texas, he told over the story, and he told about the letter that he read, and he said that to me it's clear that it's important that I give over a message that wearing tzitzis is something that is good for the heart, and it would be a good idea for those that don't wear tzitzis by night to wear tzitzis by night as well. Now, he told over the story in Pittsburgh this weekend, Mitzvah Kislev, Tafshanayin Dalet, and I was there, and a gentleman from the community said that my son-in-law was by your Farbrengen in Houston, Texas 15 years ago, and he heard your advice, and he started wearing tzitzis by night, and he had some serious heart conditions that were affecting him drastically up until that date. And from the time that he started wearing tzitzis at night, from then on, for the last 10, 15 years, he hasn't had any problems. And this father-in-law, apparently, he himself hadn't worn tzitzis at night, and he said, from now on, I'm going to be wearing tzitzis at night as well.